Right. Welcome to your restorative practice to reset or clean the slate of a busy nervous system. So, this practice is great after a week of hard activity or any kind of stressful or anxiety event that might be happening. We're really going to focus on deep, long holds as well as pranayama or breath work to really just invite our nervous system to relax and kind of tap into that rest, digest, and social aspect of the parasympathetic nervous system. So, you do want a few props. You'll either want a couple of really thick yoga style blankets, but if you don't have those, maybe a bolster or a couch cushion or several like big fluffy bath towels might be a nice substitute. Also, an option for a strap for when we're at the wall. But again, if you don't have that, anything that you can just kind of tie around the legs to give them support can be really nice. So we're actually going to start with just some easy breath work. So I will invite you to maybe just take one of your blankets to place underneath the head, just to give your head a little bit of support as you come to lay down onto your back. And then you can keep the knees bent or straighten the legs or whatever feels more inviting. I like to walk my feet a little bit wider than my hips and then just let the knees kind of fall together for support. If it feels okay and comfortable to do so, I'll invite you to place the hands on your belly. And again, if it feels okay in your environment and safe to do so, I'll invite you also to maybe close the eyes. But if you're not in a situation where you can do that, maybe just softening the gaze to limit any kind of visual distraction. And take a moment just to start to land onto your mat, start to notice your breath and how that feels. Start to feel heavier and really let yourself just melt into the support of the floor beneath you. So if you feel really tense through the shoulders and the chest, maybe even just wiggle them around to soften. If it feels like that for the hips, again, maybe just wiggle the hips side to side to allow the hips and the pelvis to drop. And then notice the breath. Does it feel more restricted and in the chest? Does it feel like you can breathe into the hand placement on the belly? And without any judgment, just notice how the breath feels in your body at the start of your practice. If it feels rapid and the heart's beating really quickly, or if it feels slow and broad. No matter how it feels in this moment, just start to really notice anything you can about the breath and how it feels. And then allow the inhale and the exhale, if possible, to come through the nose. And even if the breath feels rapid, place a little bit more intention or emphasis on your exhale. The inhale naturally is a exhilarant, brings us up, lifts the heart rate. And the exhale kind of pulls us back down, slows the respiratory system, slows the heart rate. So I invite you throughout your practice today to really focus on the exhale. So maybe your inhale is a little shorter in duration than the exhale. As that exhale can really be what pulls us into that state of relaxation. And again, just notice if you've had a pretty stressful week or busy time, that maybe the mind is starting to become preoccupied with everything else. And as many times as you need to throughout your practice, when you notice that happening, just bring it right back to focusing on your breath. And now with the hands on the belly, even if the breath doesn't make it down that deep, really visualize and tap into the sensation of the inhale broadening the skin of the belly, pushing into the hands. And as you exhale, you feel the weight of the hands pushing the belly more towards the spine. It's almost like your diaphragm is this balloon that inflates and takes up space as you inhale this pressure system. And then it deflates and softens as you exhale, letting go of the pressure that was built. And if you've allowed the eyes to close, slowly bring them back open. And as we start to set for our first shape, really see if you can hold on to this breath still. So just taking your time, rolling onto your side, whatever side might feel more inviting. And then pressing yourself up to sit. Now for this next one, you're going to want either your bolster or a few blankets. And if we're using blankets, I'm going to invite us to fold them into an accordion setting, so into 3. So go ahead and unfold it enough that you have a little bit of fabric. And then you're going to place one side down and kind of allow it to fall into thirds. And then smooth out any little wrinkles that you might have. So we're making it a little bit thicker than if we were just to normally fold it. And then feel free to do this with maybe 2 or 3 blankets. Again, just kind of folding it like a little accordion into thirds. And then smoothing out any wrinkles and then stacking the blankets. So the higher up it is, the more support we're going to have through the spine. And if we're working on range of motion, obviously the more shallow it is, the more we're going to have to twist. So go ahead and set them onto your mat. And then I'm going to sit with my left thigh about 6 inches away from the blanket. And then my right leg is just kind of nestled in the arch of my left foot. Now from here, I'll invite you to walk your hands to frame the blanket and really press to the hands to find a little bit of a thoracic twist. So a twist from that mid back. And then we're going to lengthen the spine, because what we want to do as we lengthen is just drape the rib cage, the chest, and the head onto the blanket. And then you can allow the head to fall the same direction as the knees. And then once you've landed, just release the arms so we're not pushing into them. And allow yourself just to stay in this restorative twist. And just know that if this is a little too low of a prop and it feels less inviting on the hips or the back, you can always come onto a bolster or add a few more blankets in. And once you land, bring that awareness back to the breath work that we started with. Putting a little bit more emphasis on the exhale and letting that really calm you and pull you into this state of relaxation. And our goal here is really going to be to stay still. So allow yourself to soften. Allow yourself just to linger here. If you need to make any adjustments to feel really comfortable and supported, feel free to make them now in the beginning so we can really allow ourselves just to linger and to really focus on the breath. The weight of your body into the floor or the mat in your prop. Feel this gentle rotation of the spine. And bring the awareness to your breath. We're going to be here for several minutes, so really just notice anything that might still be tight. If maybe we're pressing the arms into the floor, or the shoulders feel tight or rigid, can we really allow that to soften? And then again, just as a gentle reminder, every time you notice the thoughts starting to be pulled into other directions, just gently guide it back to your breath. Really allowing yourself to stay in this present moment, knowing that there's nothing else to do, nowhere to be. You've made this time for yourself and to really allow that nervous system this opportunity to relax. Notice your jaw, if it feels tense, or the muscle between the brows. Just really allow your body to be very passive here, supported by your prop. And as you bring your awareness to your breath, really find that natural flow of the inhalation into the exhalation. This natural yin and yang. A healthy nervous system is able to go from being very active in the sympathetic. Think of that like your workouts, your runs, your activities. And then it should be able to restore itself back to its homeostasis into this relaxed, natural, calm setting. But when we stay in that state of fight or flight in the sympathetic, it becomes harder and harder for us to naturally pull ourselves back to this homeostasis. So practices like this, these introspective practices where we can really sit in the silence, in the sensations, the feelings, and focus on the breath, can really be a great assistance or tool for our nervous system to be able to start to adapt and be able to do that again on its own. So knowing that, just be aware if your mind is allowing other things to start to clutter into this practice. And just keep coming back to your breath and how it feels in your body. And all we're going to do is change sides. So I'll invite you to bring the hands back in and very gently just drape yourself back up off your prop. And feel free just to transition to the other side. So rolling onto the other side and having a very similar setup, maybe about 6 inches between the right thigh. I'm just going to let my left leg kind of fall into the natural arch of my right foot. Use your hands to support yourself in the twist, and then feel this sensation of lengthening the spine so you can just drape your ribs, your chest, and your head. And allow the head to fall the same direction as the knee. So this is really nourishing and rehydrating rather than a pretty active twist. And then once you've landed on your props, let the arms be passive, release them out from underneath of you. And just really find this softening of the entire body as you land. Maybe take a moment just to check in with yourself. Do you feel any different than you did when you first arrived? Is it better or worse for the nervous system? And again, without any judgment, just like a loving observer, just notice any shift in the body mind that might be there. And just come back to mentally checking in with your breath, not restricting it in any way, but just letting it naturally flow one into the other. And then again, just as a gentle reminder, if you notice the mind wandering onto things that are coming or any checklist or to-do list, it's okay that that happens. Just gently bring it back to your breath. Allow yourself to just be in this moment. Mm. As you stay here, allowing yourself to linger, I invite you again just to do that mental body scan, check in. Notice if you're holding tension anywhere that you can soften. And then as we slowly start to work our way out of this shape again, invite you to slowly bring your hands in and just press yourself up. And then we'll take just a moment and lay onto the blankets or the bolster that we have onto our back. And just allow that to check in how you feel so far. Again, maybe you straighten the legs, maybe you keep them bent. Feel the support beneath you of your prop. Just gently releasing the body from these twists or rotations. And from here, just slowly roll off onto one side and press yourself up. And we're going to come near the wall. So for this next one, I'll invite you to just bring a blanket and bring your strap with you and just have them within arm's reach. We're going to go into a variation of legs up a wall. So I'll have you sit with one hip as close to the wall as you can. And then we'll just lay onto one side, and as you come onto that side, sweep your legs up the wall. Now your sits bones don't have to be up against the wall. They can be a little bit away, but just notice how it feels before we make any adjustments through the hamstrings. If you'd like to scooch a little closer to the wall, if that would give you more support, feel free to do so. So you might enjoy it as it is, and this is where you take it and you don't change anything different. But it might be nice too to kind of place the bottom of the feet on the floor, bend your knees and lift up, and slide your blanket just right underneath your sacrum and your tailbone. So not the low back per se, not the natural curve of your spine, but right beneath the tailbone and the sacrum where it connects with the hips. And then straighten out the legs and just simply notice if that feels really good, then maybe that's exactly where you stay. But something I like to add is the strap, and I like to just place it around the thigh. So we'll just kind of wrap it around both legs, and then you can either just tie it in a knot, or you can actually loop it through like you would a woven belt, like a pants belt, and just kind of tighten it enough around the thighs that your legs can fall outward, but have this support of hugging them in. So rather than actively having to hold our legs up, the strap is actually doing a lot of the work for us, so we can be even more passive here and really just allow ourselves to melt into the shape. So several options for this restorative pose, this legs up a wall inversion. So choose whichever one feels the most supportive for you. And once you land, once you're set up with either all the props or no props or just a few, just simply notice how it feels, and then bring your awareness back to your breath. And inversions like this are so nice because it's really a great way to help with your lymphatic system. So our lymphatic system doesn't have its own pump. It requires us to assist it. So inversions like this, where the blood will flow out of your extremities and back to the heart, you can really think of that as like your lymphatic system collecting waste and products that we don't need. And as it comes to the heart, where it lands in the lymph nodes, these hubs, to really clean it up and to release all of that waste. You can really think of that too with this theme of resetting our nervous system as cleaning out the body of any of this byproduct or waste that doesn't serve us. Feel the weight of your body in the floor, softening through the shoulders, through the chest. Letting the weight of the pelvis either be on the blanket or on the floor. And the security of the legs inside the strap being supported. And take maybe 2 or 3 more breaths here. And then if you do have the strap around your legs, I'll invite you to bend the knees and either loosen the strap or just bring the legs together so you can slowly remove that. And then we're just going to walk off to one side, coming to laying onto our side body. And take a moment here. And then slowly press yourself up to have a seat. And then we're going to finish with one more pose. It's one of my favorites, mountain broke. I did forget my bolster, so let me grab my bolster. If you don't have yours, you might want that, or a couple more of those blankets too, to place beneath the knee. Okay, so for this, you will want 2 blankets and a bolster. So we'll take one of the blankets that was folded in that accordion style, and I'm going to invite you to unfold the accordion, and then we're going to make kind of a loosely wrapped roll. So not really like squeezing the fabric, but just making a nice loose roll there. And then the other one, we'll unfold it from the accordion style as well. And I'll invite you to place it with the long edge at the top of your mat. So that's going to be for our neck and our head. And you're going to want just enough space between the two for the upper shoulders to fall between. So maybe about 6 to 8 inches. And then I like to have the bolster for right beneath my knees. Now, when you lay down, this first roll is going to be right at the scapula or right at the shoulder blade region. So when I come to lay down, my chest is open and supportive, but the actual tops of the shoulder blades and where it connects with the tops of the shoulders and the neck is free. So it should kind of feel like this lift from the pelvis to the chest, and then this cascading back down towards the shoulders or the clavicle. And so kind of like a little waterfall there. And then grab the long edge of the blanket beneath the neck, and you're going to just roll it up several times to give your neck some padding to get the cervical spine supported. So the cervical spine being the neck. And then just let the arms either be out like a T in between the 2 blankets, or I like to just find a cactus shape and then allow my wrists to kind of be supported off of this little neck roll here. So this is going to be how we actually finish our class. This is going to kind of serve as our final relaxation pose, or our Shavasana. So if you need to make any adjustments, for example, if the roll underneath the shoulder blades is too thick or too broad, and it's hard to be comfortable here, then maybe just take out some of the roll so it's not as extreme of a lift. We kind of feel this cascading through the body. So the knees being lifted, it cascades down towards the hips. There's this lift from the hips to the chest back up, and then it cascades from the chest to the clavicle, and then a little bit of lift of the neck, but then where the head is falling behind you towards the earth. Again, we have that cascading waterfall effect. And again, bring your awareness back to your breathing. Let everything just be soft and heavy. Feeling the support of your props and a little bit of the resistance of gravity. And again, just like up until now in the practice, just if you notice the mind getting busy, gently guide it back to your breath. Really keep tapping into this sense of resetting the nervous system. Let your feet be heavy. Let your arms be heavy. Let the back of the skull be heavy. And from here, slowly just start to wiggle fingers and toes, circle wrist and ankle. And then gently just come to rolling onto one side, leaving the upper body props beneath you. And again, take a couple of deep breaths here. And slowly using your body, your hand to support you, to press yourself up to a more comfortable seated position. And let the hands just either be on the lap or somewhere on the body that feels really good for you. And let's take a couple more rounds of that really focused intention on the exhale. So inhale into the belly. And then exhale in a little bit deeper or longer duration than the inhale. I know that at any time in your day when you get stressed or anxious, you can always come back to this vagal tone of breathing where you really put the emphasis on the exhale to pull us back into this state of relaxation. So really just notice how it feels when we emphasize that exhale. Perhaps you feel the body softening, the mind a little bit with more clarity. Then I'll invite you to take a couple neck circles very slow. So just allow the chin to fall towards the chest. Slowly bring the chin over to the right shoulder. Roll so the ears towards the shoulder. Gently with support, roll into the back of the cervical spine. Left ear to left shoulder. Left chin to left shoulder. And then the chin back through center. Let's do one more in the opposite direction. So slowly bring your chin to your left shoulder. Rotate so the ear is towards the shoulder. Support the cervical spine as you roll the head back gently. Bringing your right ear to your right shoulder. Chin to the shoulder. And eventually allowing the chin to fall towards the chest. Stay here for a round of breath, feeling that gentle release to the back of the neck. And then pull your shoulders up just enough so as you take your chin away from the chest, the back of the head has a little bit of support through the shoulders instead of just falling into the cervical spine. And then bring everything up through neutral. Roll your shoulders forward, up, and then back, and let them stay there. Take another breath to close your practice. Take a moment to check in with how you feel now versus when you first arrived on your mat. I hope your body feels refreshed and restored, and your nervous system a little bit more neutral or even into that relaxation aspect. Thank you so much for joining me for your restorative practice. Until next time, be well.